In a 10 hybrid Ballora. It's not that I shudder at the thought of hybrid Ballora, but more the fact that who would combine Baby and Ballora in such a way? Like, what purpose does this serve other than just creeping me out? It's an abomination. These are two characters that I never intended on or wanted to see together. It just sets me on edge. This is like the grown-up version of Baby, and her name is literally Baby, so it feels wrong. And I don't know what else to tell you. It's Baby's visuals on Ballora's body with some added thickness, and it's making me all sorts of confused. But one question still remains. Is Elizabeth possessing this, or when the creator was making this, did they intend on it being a separate character entirely? And why are they thicker than my Villaggio thick sliced bread? I don't know. It's actually, they're thicker than Kim K. And at 9, Phantom Ballora. The Phantom animatronics are where most of the scare in FNAF 3 comes from. They jump scare you out of seemingly random times, scaring the player and distracting them by giving Springtrap a chance to move. But even though they're the main source of scares, we only get a few animatronics to take on that ghostly mantle. But even though the game comes later in a timeline sense, Sister Location wasn't released before FNAF 3, therefore we get no Sister Location animatronics in this game. But that didn't stop people from making new ones. And out of all the custom Phantom animatronics I've seen, Ballora is probably the most tame, only given the texture and maybe a couple missing limbs, but not much else going on. So this makes it not as scary and probably not as unsettling as hybrid Ballora, but at least it's all Ballora, which makes it more suited for this list. And at 8, stylized Ballora. No matter who creates a more stylized version of Ballora, they always end up looking more humanoid, and I don't know about you, but I prefer my robots to not be humanoid. No matter, the stylized Balloras of the world are creepy as hell and give off some ultimate Austin Powers fembot vibes. And while this video already wasn't good for my search history, these more humanoid versions of an already feminine robot are going to be giving me some weird ads. Imagine if FNAF had a dating sim that was advertising itself in the way to like those ads that are like local MILFs in your area looking to chat, but it's like animatronics in your area looking to stuff you. Something like that. That would be hilarious. And you know what? You can have that idea for free. God knows Phasmophobia didn't pay me for anything that I said in that video, so I guess everything's pretty much fair game. Wait. Phasmophobia's Steam page went live in March of 2020. So they announced the game before that video came out? All of my anger has been a lie? Well, damn. And at 7, Dimitrescu Ballora. Resident Evil recently came out with another installment in their classic well-known series. And while a video about it may have flopped on this channel, the game certainly didn't. And neither did male fans after seeing Lady Dimitrescu, apparently. Since there was literally, mods just a week after release. Maybe less, actually. It's like when Skyrim first came out and there were all the mods about removing items from NPCs. But the character combined with a FNAF animatronic that already caused kids to have mommy issues is just another level of weird. Like Barney Stinson would be proud of this. I don't need to describe this, okay? It's Lady Dimitrescu's outfit on Ballora, but damn, it's terrifying if you think about it. Someone please Dimitrescu me from this nightmare. I apologize. And at 6, Motorcycle Ballora. This is on the list because it's weird. It's not scary, but it's weirder than the previous ones were scary, so it's gonna go higher. Someone turned Ballora into a motorcycle and I don't know why. Look, while I'm all for whatever you're into, okay, no judgment zone as long as it's legal and doesn't put anyone in danger, this obsession with riding Ballora is kind of putting me on edge. It puts my mental stability in danger, and honestly, it's already dancing on the fence, so even the slightest push can send me spiraling into a well of even more FNAF madness. And I don't mean like more FNAF madness as in like more FNAF on this channel, no, I just mean I'll go crazy. But like, what? Why is this a thing? Why were you compelled to do this? Who hurt you? And what the hell is her back wheel made out of? Halfway through it at number 5, Broken Ballora. While there is already a Broken Ballora in FNAF AR, I believe, just based on the animatronic deterioration mechanic, this one was created by Kench1 on DeviantArt and is creepy as hell. This is basically just a withered Ballora, and honestly I don't know why I didn't look that up on my list, because my usual methods for these is to put in the adjectives for the normal animatronics like Nightmare, Scrap, Phantom, etc. and then just add random creepy objectives when I run out of those, like broken or stylized. But this time I didn't look up withered. I guarantee that there is at least one version of withered Ballora. Actually, yep, plenty. The fans are really good at making animatronics creepier, especially when they're withered. Okay, so you know what, let's just Pretend that this number was withered Ballora. There you go. And at 4, destroyed Ballora. Jesus Christ Superstar, what in the Lord's name is this monstrosity? I thought that broken Ballora was nightmare fuel, but this is even worse. Look at this face. This is the face that took over the questionable Reddit groups. This is haunting. The look on her face, as if she's staring into the very abyss where your soul used to be. But you've already given it to Scott Cawthon in search of answers, so all she can do is make you suffer. Make you relive your worst memories over and over again. Making you scream from the inside, clawing at the walls of your mind trying desperately to escape. But you can't. You can't and you won't, because Ballora has you now. And not just any Ballora. This one has seen battle. It knows its weaknesses and has terminated them. There is no saving you now. Now it's you and Ballora forever, watching you suffer and smiling as you do. It wanted this. You wanted this. It's everything you could have ever asked for. But you know, that's just one man's opinion. And at 3, Nightmare Ballora. Nightmare Ballora is a piece of work. Holy freaking shit. With teeth like needles and that signature torn and battered nightmare aesthetic, this is what I expect when I think about a nightmare version of a character we've already seen. However, I'm getting some serious flares up from Flash Season 7 vibes here, especially from this image posted onto the FNAF subreddit by user Demolition Inevitable. And the rest of these are terrifying. Even the ones most people would consider bad are actually still messed up. This is the first animatronic on this list that has actually made me feel unsafe. If this wasn't Help Wanted, I wouldn't play it. Even less than I play it now. And at 2, Scrap Ballora. There are multiple versions of Scrap Ballora and they're all terrifying. Some more than others, but all worse than the last one in some way. There is only really one thing I find funny about this, and it's the fact that her chest is still there. Like, this character was reassembling herself and thought, yeah, better put thine memories back where they doth belong. Or like, gotta grab me my mommy milkers. Is that too much? Probably not, but I don't care, I'm on antidepressants. There was one from user FTT Heinen on DeviantArt that seems to be the more popular one, and for some reason it's carrying a scythe. I mean, don't get me wrong, scythes are cool, but why? Like, in the lore that you made for this character, why do they have a scythe? And why do they put their boobs back on their body? Like, it's terrifying. Is this trying to get every touch-starved person interested? Because, like, I mean, given the past year, I'd say we're all pretty touch-starved, so there's still the audience for it. Finally, in at number 1, Spider Ballora! Anyone who knows me knows I hate spiders. Big, small, poisonous, venomous, not aggressive. Any form of spider deserves to die and will if it's near me. And while the Havoc puppet is messed up, the spider version of Ballora is literally called Spider Ballora, and I hate it with all of my guts. While a couple of Nightmare Balloras have spider-like legs, this one takes it to a whole new level. Her original form crawling like a spider was already bad enough in my eyes, but now I have to deal with literally 8 eyes, 8 legs, a thorax, and 6 arms. What the hell, man? Why on God's green earth would you create this unholy monstrosity of a creature? This is the kind of thing that even Satan doesn't approve of. When you die and have to walk down the stairs, Satan's gonna hide behind the gate and tell you to keep walking. This is true horror. I don't care what you think. You think that this isn't scary? Good for you, but I'm not sleeping tonight. There we have it, friends, the top 10 scary FNAF fan alternate versions of Ballora.
Number 10, Late Edition. Ballora is thought of by some to be a late addition to the game's sister location, a character who was never really intended to appear and was possibly rushed at the last second in order to be finished in time for the game's release. This is scary in the sense that if this theory is true, we almost got a game without any Ballora, which would be awful considering how important some consider her to be relative to lore and how popular she is among fans for multiple reasons. Why do people think that Ballora was a late addition to the game? Well, because she has no making of available in the extras. This is odd and stands out to people as, other than Ennard, Ballora is really the only other main animatronic to not have one included. Number 9, Good Animatronic. This one admittedly is not that scary, but the antithesis to it is. What if Ballora was never intending to hurt you in the games and you were simply made to think that way? Sure, she can still jump scare you, but it could be because she has been herself manipulated by Circus Baby into thinking that you are a threat. After all, Ballora doesn't really seem to be malicious in nature. She genuinely likes to sing and dance and may not even have a vengeful spirit possessing her. Is it possible that she inherently would not think to do harm to you? Is it possible that she too is being manipulated by Circus Baby into thinking that you are the enemy, just as you think she is a threat? And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are a big fan of Ballora, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 8. The Last Animatronic. Some believe that because Ballora doesn't have a making of feature in the extras menu of Sister Location, that this gives up some information as to not just when she was made and added into the game, but when she was made in canon. Some have taken this as a hint that Ballora was one of the latest inventions of William Afton, in comparison, at least, to the other FNAF Funtime/Sister Location animatronics. Some believe that Ballora was the last animatronic in this grouping to have been made, which if you believe that she has any connection to Mrs. Afton might actually make some sense, assuming that you feel that Mrs. Afton disappeared following the death of Elizabeth for one reason or another. Number 7. Mrs. Afton's soul. So one of the prominent theories when it comes to Ballora is that she is the wife of Mrs. Afton, in spirit form at least. Some believe that Mrs. Afton died. A lot of people actually believe that this happened as the result of a car crash due to a popular FNAF music video that circulated and somehow became considered canon by fans, despite the fact that this has yet to be confirmed in-game or in any of the books. Regardless, many fans have theorized that following her death, Mrs. Afton's soul lingered on this earthly plane within Ballora, and that Ballora is, in essence, possessed by Mrs. Afton. The song Ballora sings in Sister Location has often been used as evidence to support these claims, although there are a few different explanations for those lyrics. Number 6. Not big on pretend. Circus Baby at one point in the game remarks how Ballora never learned how to pretend. Some believe this is an indicator towards Ballora's personality, and have even implied that Ballora does not like to play pretend because she is too mature and more grown up than Circus Baby in terms of her personality. Others have theorized that Ballora is simply not a fan of playing pretend, and for this reason did not like Circus Baby's plan, sensing early on that it might be flawed. It also makes sense that Circus Baby would be inclined to pretend though, considering that she seems to have kinda two sides to her, and also the fact that it's heavily implied that she can shapeshift to a certain degree, disguising her appearance. Depending of course on which continuity we're looking at, as to how much she can shapeshift. Number 5. Replacement Mrs. Afton. Another theory suggests that Ballora was simply made to fill in for Mrs. Afton, filling the void in William Afton's life after his wife left him. This also seems to be supported by the lyrics to Ballora's song, which seem to be quite sad and lonely in nature overall. Ballora mostly talks about being alone, implying that someone refuses to acknowledge her presence, which makes her lonely. However, the final lyrics in the song suggest that Ballora finds joy in her performance. She sings, "It's so good to sing all day, to dance, to spin, to fly away." This could even imply if Ballora was meant to be a stand-in for Mrs. Afton, programmed to be similar to her, that Mrs. Afton found joy elsewhere in her life. And so with William making her sad, she chose to, as the lyrics say, fly away. Perhaps Mrs. Afton left William, which is why he created Ballora. He was sad about her leaving, and so Ballora is meant to be some kind of creepy replacement? Number 4. Loss. As I said, the meaning behind the lyrics to Ballora's song have been a topic of heated debate amongst fans, and the idea that these lyrics refer to Mrs. Afton speaking out with her own voice from within Ballora, or simply repeating Mrs. Afton's own thoughts as a sort of animatronic version of her, are not the only theories to explain them. Some have also speculated that the lyrics could refer to the loss of a child, and whether or not Ballora is Mrs. Afton could be a reference to Mrs. Afton's and perhaps even Mr. Afton's grief. All I see is an empty room, no more joy, an empty tomb could specifically be a lyric referring to the death of either Elizabeth or that of Crying Child, or perhaps both. Number 3. An empty room, an empty tomb. What if Ballora was intended to be an animatronic to hold Mrs. Afton's soul, but instead was unable to fill that role before Mrs. Afton left or died prematurely? We still don't really know why William Afton creates animatronics and seemingly is obsessed with the mad science of bonding souls to them. Most believe that this obsession comes from a place of William wanting to discover the secrets of immortality. If he loved his wife, if he even had a wife to begin with, or a true love, is it possible that Ballora was made for her? This comes from the theory that Circus Baby may have been made for Elizabeth in a similar way, but where he succeeded with Elizabeth, perhaps he failed with Ballora, so she is an empty vessel. Perhaps the lyrics in her song refer to her own self. An empty room, no more joy, an empty tomb. What if Ballora is the empty room? What if the tomb is empty because the body ended up elsewhere due to some kind of failed bonding process? Number 2. Mrs. Afton's agony. On the other hand, maybe Ballora isn't so empty. After all, my previous point was just based on one of many different interpretations of Ballora's song lyrics. Something else you may have noticed about Ballora is just how aware of her surroundings she seems. True, she can't see because her eyes are closed, but she can hear and seemingly feel things. Maybe not physical things. I'm not saying that she has the sense of touch, but she can feel emotions. Circus Baby refers to her as being afraid in the game and also comments, as I said before, that Ballora never learned how to pretend. Probably either because she didn't want to or because she found it too difficult. Either way, pretty much everything here makes her sound fairly human. In the Fazbear Frights books, we learn that agony is powerful. So powerful in fact that you don't even need a soul to give animatronics sentience if you have enough of it. Enough agony. Perhaps it was Mrs. Afton's grief and agony over the loss of her marriage or her children that then possessed Ballora. If that is true, Ballora could exist and have sentience while Mrs. Afton could still be alive and out there still somewhere. Number 1. Purple Gal. Perhaps Ballora isn't Mrs. Afton, but even if she isn't, she could still be a companion for William. After all, something that many people have noticed is, well, how purple she is. She has purple eyes, purple hair, and a complete purple design, head to toe purple. Do you know who else is known for the color purple in the franchise? Like a lot of purple? Yep, William Afton himself, Purple Guy as we sometimes call him. So what if Ballora wasn't actually Mrs. Afton in the sense of representing his wife or being his wife incarnate, but instead was simply a creation of William's to act as his own companion? Colors are generally used in cinema and in storytelling to help connect concepts, characters, and denote themes. In this case, the connection could simply mean that these two are connected as creator and animatronic, or companions in some other way. We all know how much colors tend to be pointed out and utilized in both the FNAF books and in the games, and if any of William's children are actually animatronics in disguise, like we've been theorizing on the channel, it's possible that Ballora is still in a way their mother. She was just never human to begin with.